Hey guys, good morning. Am I audible? Can anyone confirm in the chat?
Yes,
Yes,
we
we
are
can hear
audible.
you.
Okay. Bro, give me a minute. Okay. I think someone has put up the message. Okay, so before starting up, guys, we'll go with the introductions today, right? Today we'll not start with any topic, but we will just like get to know about each other, about the batch, and what we'll be doing in the subsequent lectures. So before that, I would like to ask from you guys, right? Like you guys are from which domain? If you want, you can put in the chat as well. Like, are you comfortable with front end development, or you guys must be in some other background or some other domain, right? Okay, so Tushar is saying Java backend. Great. So Pooja is React front end. Okay. Wasim is a cloud architect. Yeah, I'll go into details when we'll give each one's introduction, right? Diksha is Node.js backend. Great. Akshay is React frontend. Raghu is C++, doing C++. Okay. So a lot of you people are like totally new into the front end development, right? Okay. So we will cover the basics, and it will be a revision for the people who know all those things as well. And apart from that, if they are comfortable with those topics, I can suggest or give you some advanced topics that you can cover. So you have covered up till now DSA and system design, right?
Yes.
Okay. So there are not a lot of resources, guys, for system design front end, but it's an actual topic, and that's been asked in the interviews. So maybe once we complete our course, in the end, we can have, or in the between, we can have a like bonus lecture for a design where we'll design a system based on the backend schema, but it will be more on the front end specific side of things. So you will get a difference between how to approach the backend one and how to approach the front end one. And let's say you want to dive into front end focused backend, front end focused full stack. Then you can dive more into the front end design of things. And if you want to be a back end heavy front end, some full stack, so in that case you can dive into more into the back end side of system designs, right? So that's up to you, but you should know the difference in both the cases. So we'll take that up as a bonus lecture. Okay, so we have waited long enough, guys, and we'll start from the subsequent start, like around 9:05, right? Otherwise, the meeting time will go away. So let me start my video for this particular session that we can introduce ourselves. Okay. Yeah. So hey guys, let me start with my introduction first, and then we will move to your introductions. Okay, and then we'll discuss and we'll have some questions before starting with HTML tomorrow. All right. So my name is Sahil, and currently I am working as a senior software engineer at Rakuten. And apart from that, I have worked with a couple of startups. So in the prior to that, I was working as a tech lead in a startup that was Ground Zero. So we were building a all-in-one data science, not a data science, a all-in-one data engineering platform where users can come connect to the data sources. They can generate visualizations, charts. There were about 20 to 25 charts, and based on those charts, they can generate the dashboards, right? Just like Power BI dashboards does that. Then we also had our in-house chat page. We also had our own lake house where user can create their own data warehouses, and it was again a multi-tabbed dashboard and multi-tabbed lakehouse tab editor. So the developer can go there, write some Python scripts, get the data, do the data engineering, extract, transform, load. All of those things were provided in that particular platform. Apart from that, I've also worked with other startups in the EV domain and the banking domain as well. And on the teaching side of things, I have been associated with an academies for a long time, and I had taught uh, I was a part of the front end educator, and I was a leading educator on the front end side. So I've worked with a couple of folks from Google and Microsoft. So it was a full stack development batch for around 6 months to 8 months, and I used to focus on the front end side of things. Apart from that, I have worked with again a number of EdTech companies like Physics Wala. I've also had some courses launched in the Coursera platform as well regarding JavaScript, React, and I think it was one was XML also. That was we used it for data fetching earlier, right? And apart from that, there I have also worked with a couple of small startups like Cypher Schools, Bold Infinity, and you can say GUI. That was a South-based startup, and I'm new, so I've worked with a lot of startups on this edtech domain as well. So the total experience I have around is close to 6.5 years. And apart from that, I uh, like learning new things, and I want to dive more into the AI side of technologies. So that has been my journey so far. And if you have any questions, guys, you can ask before we move on to your introductions.
Can we know your good name?
Yeah, so my name is Sahil Chopra. Any other questions, guys? Okay, so what we can do is we can take up your introduction. So you can start one by one, like whoever wants to go first. You can switch on the camera if you are comfortable. Otherwise, you can keep it as it is. It's up to you.
Let me start. So my name is Diksha. I'm working in Comviva Technologies, and I'm having 3 years of experience in backend development, and I am from Indore, Madhya Pradesh.
Yeah, great. So backend, like, could you be more brief about like what in the backend side of things?
Actually, I worked in like JavaScript. We have one platform, Leap platform, which will provide services for Airtel Africa, 14 countries. So in that we need to earlier we have one keypad type phone. In that we will do recharge using the dialing shortcode. So that services we are providing to Airtel Africa. In that, we are providing loans, pillars, and like money transfer, international money transfer, that services we are providing. So in that we need to do coding or in JavaScript.
Got it. Got it. That's great. So you work on mostly Node.js side of things.
Yeah, JavaScript mostly. Node.js is not much.
Okay. Great. Great. Thanks. So next, guys, anyone?
Yeah, I
You
can
can
go.
share
Nasir
about,
here.
yeah, you can also share about like the things you like or you want to explore or like hobbies or anything, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Nasir Patan. I just started my career seven. I mean, like I'm with 7+ years of experience total. Initially, I was with designing engines and crankshaft domain for Caterpillar. Then I thought of, with the automation stuff, I was interested into the coding, and I'm starting from last 5 years. I'm working as a Salesforce developer in TCS. I'm good at both front end and back end services, like using Salesforce technologies. Like in the front end, we are using HTML and JavaScript, and whereas in the back end, we have a similar Java code like platform called Apex, where we will be integrating our like we are doing both batch integrations, general APIs like REST services, SOAP services, and also like a database calls. Yeah, that's it. I'll be watching much anime stuff, and I'm good at playing PS games. Yeah, that's it.
Great, great man. I used to play a lot of games earlier, but now the time does not allow. I used to play a lot of like I used to play FIFA in like PlayStation a lot.
Super, super.
Great man. So you're working on a lot of technologies.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah. That's why I
And
just want to know. I'm
and where
interested
are you
in.
situated? Where are you
I'm from
situated?
Hyderabad. Yeah, I'm from Hyderabad.
Great, great. So again, that's a great place for IT guys.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks. When I came to know about we do have HT roles, like where where we can explore much more. I'm really interested in to jump into those platforms. So I don't know, to be frank, like what really Node.js for. So your session might be helping me a lot. I know that how generally the JavaScript work, but I really don't know the what actually the man. So your sessions will gonna be help me a lot on that.
Yeah, I will
It's in
will cover
advance.
that. So basically, it's when JavaScript is common around all these things, right? The only change is the environment on a high level node. So let's say
Mm-hmm.
when we are running JavaScript on the browser on the web,
Mm-hmm.
then it's a browser, right? So browser is the
Yeah.
environment. So when we run JavaScript on the backend, when we want to access the computer's internal OS level features or network level features, then Node.js is the environment. When
Mm-hmm.
we want
Mm-hmm.
when we want to build single page applications, then browser plus React is the environment. If we want to build mobile applications using JavaScript, then React Native is that particular environment, right? Mobile platform plus React Native. So the environment JavaScript will be common, but the environment features will change. So if you want to dive into web side of things, then you want to explore web browsers. If you want to go into Node.js side of things, like backend side of things, then you want to explore Node.js environment. But a lot of things will be common is APIs, networking, protocols, all these things would be common, but then the environment would change. Okay, great, Azir.
Thanks. Thanks.
Yeah. So next guys, who wants to go next? The people who have joined new, we are just giving our introductions before we start with anything, right? Because that is very important. We will be spending a lot of time in this couple of months, so I want us to like get to know each other, and you guys can also do like combine coding and help each other out, right? Whenever there is some doubts or anything. Yeah.
Uh, Myself, Vineet Maru. I have overall 10 years of experience, more than 10 years, 10 to 11 years.
Okay.
And I am working on SAP Hybris, and also have worked on many other support projects of different applications like Informatica and all, like L1 and L2 support. But major experience is around SAP Hybris, and mostly I have worked in integration Java and Spring, SOAP and REST-based integrations in almost of many projects.
Okay. So you are mostly into the backend side of things.
Yes, yes, backend side. I choose actually MERN Stack because I want to become familiar with React also and Node.js, because Hybris is now getting moving. It is actually now progressing towards Angular Spartacus storefronts are there many in commerce. So basically, they require some Angular knowledge, Node.js, and means JavaScript and all front end knowledge also. So for that reason, um, uh, I choose Munstack instead of like Java backend. Java backend, I already have some idea and experience also.
Got it. But Angular is different from React.
Okay.
So
Yes.
you'll have to explore more on the Angular side of things if the company demands it. The JavaScript is common, but Angular has a bit, I would say, a higher learning curve because it's a framework. So it has its own set of rules and strategies, right? So you have to go through that first if that is the demand, like in the company.
Yes, but actually problem is that now license of Hybris is very much costly. So once my project gets completed, there is no guarantee that I will be into commerce only. At that experience level, they demand too much, either too much of expertise, or means they hire freshers only management side.
Okay.
And my role has been changing, means it's not I have been development. Last time I was into testing. Now in the Hybris project itself, I am working as a operations, means I am more inclined towards the deployment and all those things. They are deploying using Azure Cloud Portal. So means I'm into more into operation side, fixing the cron jobs or something like that in
Okay.
those
You mean
areas.
like DevOps side?
DevOps side, not completely. It's just 20 to 30% DevOps and L1 and L2 support only, but related to same technology, commerce, SAP Hybris only.
Okay. No, I was just saying if you get a chance to work on that, then you might have to spend some more time on the Angular side.
Yes,
Yeah.
Angular also I will learn it. Means I will. It's just like yes. If I get the time and everything, so definitely. And anything I want to understand like how basic things work. So like, I mean front end, I'm not into that much hands-on experience. So
Yeah, we will cover that. Okay, great. So where are you from actually?
I'm from Mumbai,
Oh, yeah, great.
and previously like I worked in different location also in Hyderabad 3 years, Pune 2 years. So I'm from Mumbai only. So finally I got project and opportunity.
Yeah, Mumbai is a great place to be. Yeah, thanks, Vineet. So next guys who wants to take that, come next.
Hey, hi, Sahil. Pooja this side. So I'm currently with EY GDS and I have over total 12 years of experience. So I have transitioned in last 2 years from CMS developer to React developer. So the things which I'm looking from this class is that like for my future experience, I will be projecting myself as a React developer or a like one full stack developer within company roles. So though I have good grasp on React, I base out to on the terms which are like very tech savvy, specific to React folks, which like who having similar experiences, and then the knowledge of like MER, other things in the MERN stack. So yeah, looking forward to learn more from you guys. Thank you.
Yeah. So any specific terms that you were want to like tell about that you were saying?
So like initially somebody asked me how do you make the design tokens, like design systems. Yeah, so these kind of things, like when like it was getting conversed within my in-house interviews. So those things come like very new to me, though I was doing the things, but the terms was not familiar to me. So that is like a gap I find with the like people who have been working from the beginning of their career in such scenarios, like more longer than me in the React framework. So those things are missing for me.
Yeah, so it's not like that. See, we'll cover what it happened with me earlier also when I started my career. So I was good on the practical side of things, right?
Yeah.
But I was not familiar with all those terms. But
Mhm.
then I then I remember that whatever I was doing, they just had a technical term for that.
Yes,
It's
yes,
not
right.
something that is totally like out of the box or we haven't studied. It's something that you must have worked on, and we just don't know the technical term. That's it.
Yes, yes. And with like
Exactly.
12 years of experience, the in-house, the projects which come are like, they are not just specific to React. They expect me to, at least architect a solution using Node. If I'm not like open for C# and all those, but I should have basic knowledge and how the things work in Node.js. So that's also what I'm looking for, like to learn from these classes.
Yeah, we'll cover that.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And where are you? Where are you from actually?
I'm from Noida.
Okay, great. Noida, I've been to Noida. I think there was a session in the Galgote University.
Okay.
And I also went to like one session in Chandigarh University. So that is far, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, great. Thanks. And next, who wants to come first?
Hi, this is Toshal. I I I am at TCS from past 3 years. I have 3+ years of experience, and mostly means primarily in Java backend only. I am into BFSI domain where we support applications to open account, transfer funds, and submit tax forms and all that. In our project, our front end is on Angular too, but I never got a chance to work on a front end. I worked completely on back end only.
Great. And so, like, what's kind? So BFSI applications, right? Similar to like Infosys does, like Finacle or something.
Uh, I, Sorry, I did not get that.
Like BFSI means like the banking and financial
Banking domain.
sectors.
Mhm.
Okay, their transactions and everything, right?
Yes.
Great. And so I think that would be a great experience. Like a lot of asset transactions, all those things you would be doing, right? Database side of things.
I haven't got a chance to work on database that much, but it is a great experience if you say. And this is my first company. I means initially I am from mechanical background, so I had not much idea about programming and all that.
Same. I'm also from
Yeah,
mechanics.
yeah. So it was hard. Means it is still hard for me to catch up all the things. But I do like to see myself. Means I would like to see myself as a full stack developer in future. So that's why I thought it would be great to uh go for this course.
Great. And where are you from?
I am from Nagpur, Maharashtra, currently at Pune.
Oh, that's great. Both are great places.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So lot of vast experiences, guys, right? In the previous batch also where I took the last batch, there also we had a couple of uh, people coming from engineering management, right? But they wanted to explore new technologies. So the people coming from 8 to 10 years of background, yeah. So it would be a two way kind of a thing, right? So I'll want you guys to have interactions. So we will have a separate. I'll tell you the structure of the class, right? So we'll have a separate 20-30 minutes just for the doubt sessions or whatever we cover in the end of the class, right? Okay, so next, who wants to go?
I'll go.
Yeah.
So hi everyone. I'm Narendran. I work in TCS. I've been working here for past 3 years. Just like Toshal said, I also work in a BFSI domain. I work in a in-house developed product called TCS Banks, just like Finacle and Infosys. But here, this product is like everything is in-house developed. Like starting from the code generator to front end application, everything is in-house. So I didn't get much exposure to the actual tech stack, whatever is used in the business right now. So I do develop APIs and stuff, but it is all with a tool, with an in-house developed tool. So I don't have much exposure to what is being used in the industry right now. So I thought I would explore on the full stack part, so that I'll be aware of the current existing tech stack. So that is why I worked to this course.
Yeah. So what is the current tech stack?
Like everything is there, but everything is bits and pieces. Like we do have a JavaScript, we do have SQL, like Postgres, everything. Angular, in the front end, they would use Angular and stuff, but we don't get to work on that. There's a separate team for it. Yes, stuffs like that.
Yeah, so the products are you're seeing in-house. Great, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so those are the only things, right, that people are doing, and again, it depends on project to project basis. I'll come on those things, right? If there are a lot of misconceptions that people have, there are a lot of myths out there. So from my experience, also, I had no mentor or anything, right? I just had to grind myself all these years, and then I came to know bits of strategies and all those things, right? Working in startups, grinding day and night, even Saturday Sundays I used to work because there was no mentor, right? So I understand you guys problems, right? But the thing is, so we'll discuss that part, right? The thing is that we cannot cover everything, right? And no one can. So there
Right.
should always be a structured path. Even I also think sometimes that I want to dive into AWS, I want to dive into Kubernetes, but that should not be the case. Okay, we will discuss on that part. So don't worry about it. Whatever you are doing, the main thing that I do is whatever I'm doing, I just want to get at that first and focus more on the core side of things. So we will discuss that, right? So thanks.
Right, sure.
Yeah. So a lot of people from TCS. I actually never got a chance to give an interview at TCS. I gave one at Infosys, but I never joined. Yeah, so next, who wants to go next, guys? So the people who have joined you, we are just giving our introductions, and you can cover what are you working, where are you from, what are your hobbies, and everything. I think Rajiv is there, Mohammed Benazir is there, Akash, Charu Datta, Raghu, rest.
Yeah, he'll go next.
Yeah, sure.
I'm Pradeep. I'm from Bangalore. I have about 12 years of experience. So initially, I started my career with IBM, and then after 5.5 years, I just joined HCL and currently with the medical domain. So basically, I have experience in C++ development along with database. So I just wanted to try the front end to just see the opportunities and maybe if I can, shift my focus as a full stack than just being a back end developer. And my hobbies, maybe I play games here and there and keep driving to different locations to explore.
Yeah, more of a traveler guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Any new places that like you would want to share with us that we can go and travel?
Since you're all scattered, I'm not sure where I can go. So recently, I had been to Kanyakumari. So there it was a different sort of environment. The city was less crowded, so you had your peace of mind in driving, and with the less traffic. Bangalore, as everyone knows. So it
Hmm.
was a different world altogether. So maybe if you all have some time, maybe you can visit Kanyakumari and places nearby. So it is on the belts of Kerala as well. So you can just combinedly visit both places together, and you'll have a memorable journey.
Great, man. So I've never been to Kanyakumari. Would definitely like to visit there. But
Yeah,
I've heard a lot of that word
yeah.
term.
There isn't much to see in Kanyakumari in specific, but then those places which are, some 40, 50 kilometers from there, you can just have a beautiful time. It is worth for about 2 or 3 days max, not beyond that, but it is worth a while.
Right. And you said like Kerala is also nearby, so that's like a tourist kind of place, right?
Exactly, yes, yes.
I'll go sometime if I.
Definitely you should, yes.
Yeah, it's a good place.
So you're
I'm
also into Kerala.
I'm from down south. It's a great place. There is a Tirulur statue that is the highlight of that place. There's a shore temple as well.
Yeah. So I stay in the mostly in the north, the west side of things. So north is like uh, it's like nearby. So south is really far from here. I remember one time going to Bangalore and it was like I had to change two trains and it was like a 35-hour long journey for me. But yeah, south is a great place. Like I will definitely go there. Okay, great. So guys, anyone else want to go next? So Rajiv, Mohammed Benazir, and I think Charudatta is left.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Rajat this side.
Yeah, hi Rajiv. Yeah.
So, yeah, actually, I am on the way. So, I'm traveling. So, I'll join by the mobile. So, maybe some issue with the audio. So,
Yeah,
basically,
that's
I have
fine.
the yeah. So, I have the more than a 10 years of experience in developing front end applications. But I joined this batch for the DSA and etc. So, this was a part of the curriculum. So, I joined this one as well. And I'm from the Delhi.
Okay, so what kind of technologies you were working on the front end?
So, front end, I work on the Vue.js and Node, a little bit in React.
Great, great. So I hope you will get some chance here to learn React as well.
Yeah, so that's why I joined because I want to actually dirty my hands with the React as well. So that's why.
Yeah, that's great, Rajiv. Thanks.
Yeah, hi, this is Benazir.
Yeah, hi, Vinay. Yeah.
Yeah. I have around like 13 years experience. I worked in .NET and also like Python. Currently, I'm working on front end. We are using Angular, and also I'm mostly into like back end side. So in future, we have like opportunity for React. And also as I'm leading the team, I need to like have like I have like little bit theoretical knowledge on React, but I never got chance to work on. But I want to have like a in-depth knowledge of like front end, like UI, designing the pages, and also like React and everything.
So, designing the pages, you mean like the wireframes or something like that?
Yeah, like HTML, CSS, like whatever in the now currently for Angular we use like Angular material, right? For that,
That CSS part.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that part I'm not much comfortable. Angular like logic and everything I can write, but coming to the HTML pages, I'm not that comfortable. So in React, like when I get opportunity to work in future, so that I should be comfortable in writing uh, like a React code as well as designing the UI screens.
Get your point. So currently, where are you from? And like, if you
I'm from Hyderabad. I work in EY GDS.
I think someone else was also from EYGDS. I'm not sure. Someone mentioned that.
Okay.
I think Pooja is there from there.
Yeah.
Great. So, and total, how much of experience you have?
I have 13 years experience.
Oh man, so more than double. Great, great. Thanks for the introduction. I think all of you have covered. Charu Datta is left, but she has said that okay, now mic is not working. Okay, so Charu Datta has a total experience of 3 years and working on C sharp, and now have transitioned as an Azure developer. Okay, great guys. Thanks for introduction, and I hope you guys have also got to know a lot of things about your uh, batch, right? Probably you would have the idea earlier as well, but it's always a good thing to have an introduction. So let me share my screen. So is my screen visible to all?
Yes.
Okay, so let's discuss a couple of things, guys, because I want to keep things as much as transparent as possible, right? I definitely don't want to misguide you or let you to decide what is best, right? Whatever I have seen in my experience, I'll discuss some of the things, right? And this is the only class, so I think it should be we should do that. So the first thing I want to ask from you guys is like what you consider to be a full stack, or let's make it more specific. Let's say is MERN full stack. What do you think, guys? Let's make it interactive, this particular session, and then for the next subsequent session, we'll take doubts in the end, right? So what are your views on it?
Uh, Basically, earlier if you go the 10 to 15 years back, so there were you can say MERN is a full stack, but in these days this is not, because there are lots of things apart from this is also the part of the web applications. So we can say this is not the full stack basically.
Yeah, exactly. It's considered a full stack framework because see, it covers the front end few side of things, it covers the back end side of things, right? But is it full stack? No, it's not. Right? It just gives you a way to build a somewhat complete application, but it's not full stack, guys. Right? And why it is not full stack? Because now you see
Deployment
that we have,
things are
yeah, yeah.
missing.
Sorry, what?
Deployment, all these things will also come into picture for full stack, right?
Exactly, exactly. So now, if you see that, yeah, see, again, we have MongoDB. So MongoDB can be used locally, or you can have a MongoDB cloud, right? So all those things are there. But if you see, they are just covering front end plus back end plus some of the database side. But what I know, guys, is that fully understanding each and every technology, becoming master at it, it's not something that everyone can do, right? So you have to specialize on one thing and then have a knowledge in such a way that you can connect all those pieces without using any framework. So that is what I think of a full stack developer. For example, here you are using MongoDB database, here you are using Express, here you are using React, here you are using Node. That is fine, but then there are a couple of questions, guys, right? Can you set up your own VM, right? Can you work on the deploy, or can you deploy the application? These are some of the questions, guys, right? Can you deploy the application? Can you set up your own VM? There are these concepts, right, of cloud technologies, virtual machines, all those things. Can you have some load balancers kind of things, right? Again, these are part of system design. Do you know what is Nginx? Do you know for the front end side what is a webpack or what are the bundlers? Right? There are a lot of things, guys. So full stack, I see a full stack is a person who's something who just knows how to connect all of these things, even if it's very basic, right? You should be able to set up your own server, but do you need to depend on Express to create your own server, guys? No. People can create server in C++ also. You can create server in direct Node.js also, right? So just knowing about these frameworks, just knowing about few lines of code, just creating one project, I don't consider that person to be a full stack developer. A full stack developer should be a guy who should person who should know about all these things, right? And he or she can connect the application at multiple stages. They should know about CI/CD pipelines. They should know a little bit on the not the Kubernetes. They should know a little bit about the Docker, right? Something about the security. All those things should be there. So you should know about that, right? That's what I think is a front end. Sorry, is a full stack developer. So that is one thing. Are you getting, guys, what I'm trying to convey?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
A lot of people, what they do is they just complete a MERN Stack course and they apply for a full stack job, guys. And trust me, it's not full stack, right? So for full stack, you need to have some sort of uh, knowledge of all these things, right? And do you have to be
So
expert
question
at all
is,
of these things? Yeah.
yeah. So you, as we say, this is not the full stack, but be a full stack. What should we do after this course, or how we can get this knowledge to connect this dot?
So you gave a question, right? That what should you do to be actually become a full stack, right?
Yes.
So first thing is, can one be a master of everything?
No.
So ultimately, how can a person say that they are the full stack developers? Guys, anyone? What do you think?
But the market is always, if you see, they everyone is asking for the full stack.
No, I'm saying full stack developers are there, but how would you consider someone to be a full stack developer?
So
That
it
is one.
depends upon the requirement.
Exactly. So one thing is like what they are asking, right? One thing is that what they are asking. What is the other
So
thing?
actually, my question is, if I complete the MERN class, after that,
Hmm.
what I should do so that I can gain the extra part, so that I can become a full stack?
Yeah. Yeah. So okay. So guys, the thing is that once you have the basic idea about all these technologies, the only thing that you can showcase is a project, right? And your project should has all these things. If you have a basic month-time project, you should do what? You should deploy it. You should containerize it, right? You should add some AI LLMs to it, right? Not LLM. You can have some APIs and then you can integrate your those APIs, right? AI APIs, and then you can have some sort of features. So once you are able to connect all those things, you can work on the security side. You don't have to be master at all of those technologies, but if you are the person that knows how to connect the dots or how to connect everything, right? That is what I consider to be a full stack. I hope that answers your question, Rajiv. Don't just leave the project, don't just leave the monstack application as it is. integrate more and more tools. I'm not saying that you have to make it scalable because it's your side project, right? You don't have to make it scalable. You can just go to the basic core technology, right? You can open up a VM, you can just go to that VM, you can open a port, you can see, you can deploy your application there, you can buy a domain, you can hook up your domain with those things, right? You can close your port using the libraries, you can secure your ports, you can do a lot of things, guys. So you should know the basic fundamental side of things. What I did was I started learning with React first, and then I came to know that okay, it's built on JavaScript. Then I had to. There were a lot of struggles while writing logic, right? So then I had to go back to JavaScript. Then I had to go back to the browser because the browser is the environment, right, where we are running JavaScript. Then I had to understand in depth, and that's how I am able to learn React and other things now, right, easily. So that has to be the case. You should first always target the basics of it, and you should explore all the tools and you should connect them in a project because you can showcase that. If you're just exploring, if you're not able to showcase that, then if you're just adding that as a skill, then again that's a problem, right? So I hope, guys, this answers your question, right? Is it clear, everyone?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, now it's up to you. It's up to you if you want to be front end heavy or full stack heavy, back end heavy. That's up to you, right? So again, that will be something that your project can display, because whatever you are interested in more or comfortable in more, you will have those features or the code present on those side, right? So that is something that you can focus on. And also, guys, testing, I forgot to mention that. If you look at the screen, do you know about enterprise level of testing? Can you hook up all those tools, right? There are, this testing would also have something like ESLinters, Prettier, all those things. So basically it would be kind of guardrails that your project can have, right? So what else, guys? What else do you think a full stack develop person should know if you are creating a full stack project?
And
And you can see, guys, all these things are separate from the MERN, right? Yeah, some part you will explore in the project, but it's not technically MERN. Technically MERN is just MongoDB, Express, React, and Node, right? Yeah, someone was saying anything?
regarding deployments and everything, like a little basic will be covered in this curriculum, or how it is?
See, we will deploy the application, that's for sure, but it's a basic level of deployment, right?
Yeah.
It's not Docker, it's not Kubernetes. If we get time, we can do that. See, it's like I don't mind doing that if all of you guys are comfortable. But if only one person is comfortable and all of you are not, then I have to go again back to the basics, right? Because that is important.
Yeah, actually, in our team, there are like two guys working on this Kubernetes deployments, but we sometimes we also should be involved, but we don't know the terminology and nothing. We don't have any idea. So if I want to learn and get knowledge on that, little bit like basic, at least I need to know like what is how to create the pipelines and deployments and everything.
Yeah, so there are two things, right? If you want to dive into Kubernetes, there is one YouTube video that you can look at. It's Tech with Nana.
Okay.
It's a half an hour course. You will get a lot of idea about what Kubernetes is, and you can do that on mini cubes. You can run the Dockers on mini cubes, right? It's a small cluster for testing purposes. But if you want to go about how to create pipelines and everything, right, then you should first check like what kind of technology or company is using. So are they working with AWS or something else? So you need to focus on that first,
Okay.
right? So AWS is a separate course on its own. Getting my point?
Yeah, yeah.
You don't need to know each of the AWS, then all of the React, then all of the Node.js, then all of the database side of things. You should know. You should be the person who should be expert in one. For this course, I'm talking about. If you want to be a full stack, But for your particular use case, you will have to focus on those technologies if someone is asking, right?
Okay.
But you can get the hands-on development there, right? So you can just go through that course that I shared, and I think you will be good to go with the Kubernetes part at least.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. What else, guys?
Version control.
Yeah, exactly. Very important point. It's the basics of everything, right? What else you think? See, first we should have the clarity, right? We should have the clarity of what a full stack is, and then we can do something about it. Then we know that where we are lacking, what is the part that we need to learn, right? So all those things are there. So I did not mention CI/CD, right? So that will come under this automatic testing and the deployment part, right? What about, guys, monitoring and logging? You must have the people who are already working. I don't think there is fresher here or something like that, right? If there is one, you can let me know if you are a fresher or anything. But most of you must have seen, right, any kind of observability tools.
Yes.
Data entries.
Yeah, it could be New Relic, it could be Sentry, it could be anything, right? So these things are also important. You should set that up.
I think Pooja, your video got turned on.
Right. So Nginx I have mentioned. What else, guys? What else you think? See, I'm writing a mix of these things, but if you dive into backend or front end, right, you would find more topics.
We use Kibana logs, then sometimes Splunk is used, means in observability.
That would come under observability, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
you could use any tool. That is fine. What about this, guys? Is this important or not?
Accessibility.
What do you think about this?
Important. I have recently heard from like that US government has made it mandatory for the applications. They should have a specific some basic guidelines to be followed for to meet for the accessibility follow visually impaired people or those people. And even the last website which I was working on, like they are for US based companies, so they are at least following like standard or minimum guidelines for accessibilities.
Exactly, exactly. So this is important, right? But it's not covered in MERN. Getting my point? So MERN is a basic set of tools that will help you to create a application that can contain some front end or some back end. But these things, when you add these things, it will actually be considered a full stack application, or you will be considered as a full stack person, because you should know how these things interact, right? You should be able to create those boxes. You should know you have done the coding, you have integrated Nginx, you have integrated accessibility, you have done a lot of things, right? So that is something that I consider to be a full stack, right? Again, there are also a lot of things like you should know about environment variables, where to put them, how to put them, right? So again, there should be some kind of secrets management. Again, have you seen these kind of things, guys? I hope you must have, right? In Kubernetes or Docker, there is a secret config file, right?
Yeah, REML kind of.
Like in Key Vault, we
Exactly, exactly. So we have those things, right? In front end, if you would have worked heavily on the front end side, then you again, that will be a part of CE/CD. So there is something called as what I forgot that. example there. So GitHub Actions, yeah, got it. Something like that. So what does GitHub Actions do? Does anyone has any idea about that? Have you seen it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
means we can add workflows like deploy, build, delete, and so
Exactly. So one example I would give is, for example, if you want to push the code to GitHub, but you want to run some checks, right? You want to install the latest version of Node. You want to run your automated test cases. You want to be able to check some of the things, right, before actually pushing it to the GitHub. So you can do all those things in the GitHub Actions. Now, is it the part of MERN? No, right? All of these things are, I'm not saying it's a part of one. It can be if you integrate them in your project, but a lot of bootcamp courses or a lot of courses that you would see, right, they will not cover these parts. And there is a reason, guys, because if you are covering basic side of things, right, that is very, very important. If you don't know the basics of one stack, you cannot ever go and then just learn these things, right? Because that knowledge is also important. But after getting that knowledge, where you have to dive into, you have to dive into cloud technologies, you have to dive into some part of secret management, some part of observability tools, some part of CI/CD pipelines, right? Some kind of guardrails. Why guardrails I'm telling about, guys? See, enterprise testing, and you must have heard of the terms, right? Test driven development. So these are very, very important, guys. I have seen startups fail because they have not implemented testing, because they want to ship product faster, right? If you don't enforce testing, if you don't enforce guardrails or constraints, then there is a higher chance of project that is failing. If the project is not failing, then there is a higher chance of getting bugs. Has anyone of you like seen all those kind of things? There will be bugs, right, if you are not enforcing testing. And I'm not saying, see, testing is a different domain on its own. So have you guys worked on testing, any part of the testing? Developer testing I'm talking about, not UAT testing, not the testing that QA do. I'm talking only about developer testing.
Writing non-test classes. When-
Writing what?
Writing test classes.
uh,
Unit test cases.
yeah, so one is unit test cases. Then what? If you are working on React or any front end application, right,
And
then
E2E test cases like Playwright.
yeah, so there would be first. So E2 is end to end, right? Before that, first you do unit test. So unit test is kind of a function based testing where you are targeting a unit, a function, and then you are testing it. Then you have integration testing, right? Or you can say component level testing. So you isolate a component, maybe you use a storybook or anything, right? You isolate that component and you test that component. And then finally you have E2E test cases. So you should know a bit about these things as well, right? And most of you are like more than 5 years experience, right? So this is expected of you. This is what, if you're starting or leading a new project, right, this is what is expected, guys, right? Not the core JavaScript knowledge, or not. See, that is something that you should always have, the core JavaScript knowledge. That is very important. If you don't know all these things, then you would never be able to code better in JavaScript, right? But apart from these things, you should have a little bit of idea about anything. Now, why I'm saying bundlers, you guys must have heard of micro frontends, right? Maybe some of you have worked on it. So you can create micro frontends using bundlers. You can do some performance level things on using bundlers, right? So there are a lot of things that you can cover apart from one stack. So guys, I hope I'm able to answer your question, right? And this particular thing that is MERN a full stack, even though we are not covering everything, but you have the idea, right, where you have to go next after this. Because you must have seen the MERN course, right? It is also detailed. You have to go deep into CSS, you have to go deep into HTML, you have to do a lot of things. But now, do you guys have the idea about where to go next, where to focus on next?
Yes.
Okay, any other questions, anyone, in this particular part? Okay. Cool. So before diving into MERN, guys, what is the common thing that it has? It has JavaScript, right? It has JavaScript. So JavaScript knowledge is very important if you want to be any kind of a JavaScript developer, right? So the first thing is that this knowledge is very important, and that has to be intermediate plus advanced, right? You should know the nitty gritty details of how it works, what is the execution context, what is the call stack, how the browser environments run JavaScript, how the browser loads the JavaScript, right? What are the syntax things in the JavaScript part, right? How it executes the synchronous part of code, how it executes asynchronous part of code. So all those things is the primary thing that you should focus on initially, right? Of course, we have to focus on HTML and CSS. And HTML is easy, guys. HTML is basic. We'll cover a lot of details on the HTML part. CSS is something that will always come by practice. You cannot just learn the concepts, and you cannot just create any UI, right? It's all about practice. Again, why I'm emphasizing on this particular part is because it can take years to just master CSS. But are we a CSS designer? No. We are, everyone is aligned, right, that we have to be a full stack developer. So in that case, you should have that much of knowledge in CSS that will help you create any kind of UI, but it will not take much of your time, right? So we'll cover all those tools and techniques, right? The only thing you should get better is the grid and flexbox technologies in this particular CSS, and rest everything will fall in place. But don't focus heavily on the animation side of things for now, covering all the CSS tools like Material UI, Tailwind, everything, right? You cannot see, no one can cover everything. You will cover the latest that is in use. For example, the core CSS. And again, guys, this Tailwind, this Material UI, this Bootstrap, we will cover some part of it. But until and unless you know the basics, until and unless you know what are selectors, what are properties, what could be the values, right? What is the priority of browser loading the CSS? If you know all these things, then it will really make your life a lot more easier, guys, right? I have been on bugs where CSS can take a lot of your time, and the JavaScript bugs are really easy if you compare it with CSS, right? Because the CS, there are a lot of properties, and one can override another property, and it's a really really huge headache. So front end developers can agree with me. If back end developers would be thinking like, okay, CSS is not a much of a big deal. So we'll cover that. But trust me, guys, CSS is a big deal, and I have seen back end developers leaving the front end projects because of the CSS, right? So I've seen that. So it's better to cover the basics of them, and once you're comfortable, then the life will be really really easier. Okay. Again, very important thing, guys. See, if you guys are leading projects, if you don't want to switch or anything, right? That's something different. But one of the important things that I have observed now, if you want to be a front end heavy person, right? Even earlier, there was a time where people did not ask a lot of DSAs. They were just asking machine coding rounds. They were asking a lot of stuff, right? But now, the in majority of the companies, the first round will always be DSA. So you should always be focusing on 1 2 problems every day. Why I'm saying is, I have seen people in the previous batches, they said that, okay, I'm not getting time to do the DSA part. I'm focusing only on React. I'm focusing on the CSS. I'm focusing on Node. That should not be the way, guys. You have to be consistent. Why? Because the first round will always be a DSA round. In most of the companies, some companies would ask you heavily on the React side, like Zapto, Swiggy, Zomato, right? But the interviews that I have given in the past in big companies, they'll always ask you DSA, right? So DSA is something that you should always focus on every day, because if you skip it, then you know that you will have to start again. So that is one thing. What I wanted to cover next important thing was, yeah, so project is really important, guys. You have to create project. You have to create something of whatever you are learning. If you are not doing that, then believe me, then you will eventually forget all these things. Okay. So again, in the past, I've seen people just be regular in the classes and they are not practicing, not creating projects, and ultimately they'll lose the whatever we discussed, right? Whatever we have taught, and then they again have to start from scratch. Okay. For front end rules, what should be the scope of DSA? So I would say the scope of DSA should be everything, right? I gave one interview last time, and they asked me graph and greedy problems, right? So now they are the scope is getting larger for the front ends. Earlier it was limited to arrays, strings, or linked list, but now they'll drill you on the dynamic programming, graph, all these things, right? So that's why I'm saying one, two problems should be very, very important. Again, guys, learning is a separate thing that you are applying on your projects. Interview is a separate thing. I hope everyone agrees with me on that part, right? So for backend, I am assuming that you have a lot of ideas since you have already covered DSA with JavaScript. But there are a lot of rounds that you have to side by side prepare. I'll give you all the tools, guys. I'll give you all the materials that I've accumulated over these years, right? But again, the only thing that is in your hand is just practice, right? So don't take it lightly. The interview rounds can be ranging from DSA. So this is very important. The interview rounds can be on the machine coding, in vanilla JavaScript. So vanilla JavaScript we will cover. It is a DOM manipulation part, right? That's why I'll cover that. But it is something that you do not use now on the company's applications, right? On because earlier jQuery was used, but now whatever you could do with jQuery, now people are doing with vanilla JavaScript. And since you already have the libraries and frameworks like React, Vue, Angular, they are diving more into the React side. And trust me, guys, vanilla JavaScript practice is really important. Is there someone who is doing vanilla JavaScript in the production code or working on a project that is written in vanilla JavaScript? So vanilla JavaScript is something like when you are saying document dot get element by ID, when you are using all these type of methods to do something, right? Is anyone working on that? No, right? You mostly work on React, you mostly work on Angular, but this is something that companies expect, that your fundamental knowledge should be important. So again, I'll come to these two things, guys. The very important thing is fundamentals plus practice. If you do this, don't worry about AI technologies, don't worry about cloud technologies. If you are familiar with this, once you are comfortable with this, then move on to these technologies. Okay, so these things are also important. These things are also important. If you know these things, but if you don't know these things, then you will not clear the interviews. So which is more important, guys? Which is more important? This is more important, down part, or the upper part is more important?
First down part.
Yeah, again it depends. If you're working on a company project, if the company expects you to architect a project or create a project from scratch or lead a team, then you have to focus on these things. So you have to decide that. I have told you everything, right? You have to decide that. If you are switching for interviews, if you want to clear the interviews, then you have to focus on these things. Is it making sense? It will change over time. So fundamental is absolutely important. Once you are clear with the fundamentals, then you can dive into any of the latest technologies that you want. So Charulata has a question: what is machine coding? So machine coding is basically a 1 hour or a 1.5 round, where the companies will ask you to create a to-do application, or they might even ask you to create a searchable. Maybe they can ask you to create an accordion component. So it can be anything, right? There are a lot of machine coding questions. They can even ask you to create the whole landing page or a working UI with some sorting and filtering functionality, or maybe searching functionality. So these things can be there. So you can search for machine coding rounds in front end, and it can either be on your main technology, or it can be on vanilla JavaScript, right? So you can see here that, I think it's not here. So they'll ask you to create a mini app in that particular point of time. You can see something like accordion, right? Expandable, collapsible panels, some clock, some image carousel, a counter application, infinite scroll, JSON creator. It could be anything, right? Depending upon the company. A nested comment section, a tab component with navigation. So all these things can be asked. A file explorer UI. So you must have seen, guys, right? The file explorer or something. So this will use recursion that you are already familiar with. So those things you can use. So these kind of practice is also important. So Siddesh is saying, I have mainly worked on Java backend. How this course will help learning in front end? So Siddesh, this course is kind of front end heavy, MERN Stack, right? So we'll cover all the front end technologies, the tools that people use. We will learn the debugging skills. That is also very important, guys. So again, I will mention it, right? Debugging. It is the very, 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 very important part. If an error is coming, right, you should debug that. You should know the steps how to debug. You should be able to trace the error, and it's a very, very underrated skills, guys. Now in some interviews that I have given, they'll ask you to debug and solve the bug, right? So interviews keeps on changing, but hardly if you see, you have a DSA round, you have machine coding round, then you have JavaScript problem solving round, where you will be drilled down on the important topics that we will be covering. They are core JavaScript patterns, core JavaScript uh, concepts, like closures, asynchronous, JavaScript, all those things. Okay. And then there will be a system design round. This is not a part of this course, but I told you, right, I will be doing a bonus session on that, so you will have an idea how to approach the system design questions on the front end heavy side. Okay, so these are the round mostly for the front end, and this will be mostly HLD. And for backend, guys, I'll just write it down, but you know the drill, right? So you don't need any prerequisite, Sidesh, right? I'll start from basics only. Okay. For the backend side, guys, there could be a DSA round that we all know. There will be LLD plus HLD, and there will be a system design round. and this will be front end focused, but a little bit on the back end. But if you're giving as a full stack, then it can be a combination of both. Okay, there this front end part can be reduced. Okay, so this is the high level overview that you have to keep on practicing or focusing on if you want to go on the interview side. But if you are not going on the interview side, then you can focus on the latest tools and technologies that would help you deliver best on your projects, right? The current team that you're working on. So is it clear, everyone, or are there any questions? Can let me know if it's clear. Okay, what about others? Total duration would be around 2 3 of months, but I'll tell you that, right? Okay, any other questions, anyone?
We will be starting with basics of JavaScript,
No,
right?
we'll start with HTML and CSS first.
No, means I'm just asking about JavaScript because I have complete experience in Java backend, so I don't have any idea of JavaScript. So
Don't
that's
worry,
why.
don't worry. We will complete all the major questions that will help you understand the JavaScript, right? So don't worry about that.
Yes,
See,
thank you.
I'll see what is the class flow. So this is one thing that is important, right? The other thing that I want to do is want to discuss is the class structure. You can see my screen, right?
Yes.
So last 20 to 25 minutes, we can have maybe half hour. We can have for your doubts. We will be covering and solving all the doubts. Okay. So see, I have to understand. I will start with the basic part. So what I'll do is we will cover the absolute basics, because time to time I have seen, guys. Time to time I have seen, if it's a DSA question, if it's a graph problem, don't you think you should know DFS or BFS first? Or is there anyone who can solve the graph problems without knowing those basic terminologies? Can you do that? No one can, right?
Yes.
So very important, guys, very important. Basics and fundamentals are very important. I'll make sure that you don't have to worry about HTML and CSS again. You just have to practice. You just have to jot down the notes, whatever we are covering. We will cover the basics, right? And as soon as you guys are okay with the basics, you're comfortable with the basics, I'll go to intermediate to advanced, right? So we'll take that up. And when I say basics, intermediate to advanced, I'll do that for the JavaScript part. I'll do that for the React part. I'll do that for the Node.js part. But for the database, I'll not go on much of the depth, because again, we should know front end and back end side of things more. Database, we are not into database engineering, right? But I can but there are some things that you can learn, like indexing, like database, like queries, how do you write queries in MongoDB. You don't have to write all those queries also, right? But in SQL kind of databases, where there you have to write SQL queries, so that can also be asked in interviews, but it's not part of MERN Stack, right? So you should have a knowledge of little bit about SQL queries if you are going for the backend heavy roles. Okay. So I'll cover from basics and intermediate to advanced. Does anyone has the link of the course structure?
Just give me a sec, I will share.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Let me open that. So this basically, guys, I only created. And this will have all the things that you need, right? And I will see that if you want to create a e-commerce application or some other application, because clones are now really common, right? So I want to do something unique this time and better. So we'll stay away from the e-commerce. We'll see that, right? Okay, so you can see here that I have noted down all the things that you need to cover in HTML, and there is nothing more, right? So these things are important, and this will cover some of the advanced things in HTML and CSS both, right? These are the core fundamentals of CSS. If you don't know about this, then CSS will feel like headache, right? This will feel like a headache. If you know all these basic technologies, basic concepts, then CSS will be easier for you, very easy for you, including CSS grid. So uh Pooja, we will see, right? It's not a part of the course, because see, if you are talking about front end for micro front end for front ends, right? Then there can be microservices for back end, right? Then there can be replica databases. So those things would come under the design part, the system design part. Okay. And that is something that additionally you can explore. But if you are covering everything and then you are getting nothing out of it, then it's a problem, right? I don't mind covering all of the things, but there should be a pace where we are understanding, we are improving, and then we are gradually growing, right? Okay, so we have I have covered some of the basic things here, but I don't know where that thing is gone. Closures are not mentioned here, so I'll cover those things. Scoping and scope chain is there. These things are important. These things are important from working point of view, as well as the real world projects, right? So these things are important. I have taken those things in place, and this is something very important. Asynchronous part of JavaScript. Okay. Then we will be starting with React, and we will focus a lot of things on React like this, and this will cover almost everything of the React, and it will feel easier a little bit because then you would have covered important things in JavaScript. So that's why JavaScript needs to be studied first if you want to dive into React. The earlier mistake I did was jumping directly into React, and I was familiar with the React syntax, but I was not able to come up with the logical side of things, right? Because all that logical side of things would be the JavaScript part. Okay, and you'll see some routings, all those things. Then we will talk about Redux. This Redux is something important, but now it is fading away a little bit. But most of the companies, major companies like, will use Redux. It is for handling large scale projects. Then we will cover Node.js. We'll again cover the basics of Node.js. But there is also something that I would like to cover, some of the inner workings of Node.js. But that we will see, right? Once you are comfortable with the basics, then you will cover the internal workings of the Node.js. And this also includes the MongoDB side of things. What is NoSQL, SQL? These are very, very basic things. What all you can do in the MongoDB. Authentication is authorization is also a system design part, but this is something that we need to implement. Right? We can implement it using any of the JWT token or any of the tokens that you have in mind. And most of the things, see, these are just the concepts, right? Some of the things that are how to handle get request, put request, all these things you will be covering in the project development side as well, right? And one more thing I want to do is I want to create short projects. So let's say what I do is, if you are working on Node.js, right? So I will create a short CLI app. So you guys know what is a CLI? You must have worked on it, right? Backend people mostly work on the CLI. Even if you run npm commands, that is a part of CLI. So we will create one CLI, a kind of note taking application in JavaScript using Node.js. Okay, where we will talk about a lot of the things, nitty gritty details of Node.js, how it can extract the file system, how it can work with the file system. So we'll use the file system as our database, right? So we will create that project, and I'll do the same thing for the React also. We will create small projects to understand these details. Okay, and whenever the concept is not clear, you guys can let me know, then I'll dive into in the conceptual side of things as well, right? If something is not clear. But for the JavaScript part, both practice and both concepts are knowledge. So we will draw some boxes. We will see how JavaScript memory gets assigned, right? What are the functions, types of functions is JavaScript, important asynchronous programming, right? Promises, async await, callbacks. We will discuss all of that part. Okay, so you will be familiar with all those terms. Another important thing, guys, that I want to mention is that is not covered here, but that is important is I will spend some time, or I'll note here as well, that is the important design patterns. Have you guys heard of any design patterns?
Singleton, builder, factory,
Yeah,
that, yeah.
pub
Adapter.
sub pattern, events patterns, right? Pub sub patterns, all those things are there. So this is also very important. Why they're important? Because they allow us to solve the problems that people have solved earlier using these design patterns. And each of the design patterns have their own pros and cons, right? So you should be familiar with that as well. And I think Toshal said about, right, singleton pattern, builder pattern, all these things. So those are JavaScript patterns. Now there are specific patterns to React as well. So there would be React specific design patterns, right? There will be, if you're working on Vue, then there will be Vue specific design patterns. So that is also something that you should be aware of. I think someone worked on Vue, right? And React. So can you tell me any React specific design pattern or any Vue specific design pattern? Similarly, you would have Angular, but it's a framework more or less. So you will should know the framework side of things.
I think observer, maybe. I don't know.
Observer is a common pattern.
Okay.
Anyone, guys? Any React design pattern that you must have followed? What about Vue?
So view no specific pattern as for the view, but component-based development.
No, but Vue should have some, right? Like props events, those are also patterns. Slots, those are also patterns. And guys, see, when you are a senior, right? Again, you have
Yeah,
to
I
divide these
think
things. The voice is breaking.
using the options API. When we go to the option API, there is the tools have to define the props and your method, your computed properties and watchers.
Yeah. So those patterns people should know, right? Some slots, some watchers, all these things they should know. Similarly, in case of React specific, again we'll discuss more on these things on detail, guys. But I'm just giving you an idea that you should have the basic idea, right? So we have containers and presentational components. Then you have HOC, that is higher order components, and that is something that is that is come from JavaScript, right? So in JavaScript you can have higher order functions. So similar in React you can have higher order components, right? Then you have some hooks based pattern, hooks based design pattern, right? Then you have render props, again a design pattern in React for specific use cases. Then you have compound patterns, right? Then you have state manager, state management, all those things. So why I'm writing these names, guys, because see, we will be working on this throughout the application or throughout the projects or throughout the code that we will do in the class, right? But most of the time people are not familiar with these terms. It is something that you guys are already doing, you must be doing, or we would be doing, right? But then I would also tell you that okay, this pattern is called what pattern, this pattern is called what pattern, because in the interviews, if you go as a senior engineer, right, if you give if you have more than uh, 1 year or 2 years of experience, then you are considered for a senior role, right? Then you would be definitely asked around all these patterns. And that was really tough part for me because I know the patterns but I did not know the naming conventions, right? In the earlier days when I was trying to switch or when I was trying to do something, right? So we will cover these things as well, right? So a lot of things you can see are not a part of the MERN Stack curriculum, but are of importance that I wanted to cover, because these are some things that you can explore on the sites. If you're see if you are comfortable with React and we are covering the topic that you are comfortable with, then you can dive more into the React design patterns, right? Getting my point, guys? So you should have the idea where you should move next. Another important thing that I want to tell you guys is a website that is roadmap.sh. um, a lot of people knows about this, but this is something that you can use to explore any other tools, right? If you want to dive into, see, again, as I told you, right, a full stack engineer should know how to connect all the missing pieces or how to connect the dots and create a working full stack end to end application. But let's say if you want to dive something, you want to dive into front end, you want to dive into back end, you want to dive into full stack, maybe AI engineer, maybe you want to dive into React Native. So you guys have heard of React Native? If you are comfortable with React, you can dive into React Native, and React Native is used to build mobile applications, right? You can do that. If you want to be a UX design, you can go into UX design, you can go to software architect. If you are 8 to more about 5 years experience, right, then you can go to the architect's role. So you'll get all the things here along with the resources, along with the structured path, and you can see that this is something that you can learn, right? Again, see, this is front end, very very specific front end. That's why front end as a domain has evolved a lot. You can see it's very very big, right? You should know about what happens in the internet, how the web works, how what something happens when someone types a URL. You should know about package managers, you should know about CSS frameworks, you should know about authentication strategies, you should know about the testing tools, bundlers, these policies, right? These are again protocols for backend and front end communication. Then You should have some advanced projects. You should know about web APIs, web security, server side rendering, design systems, accessibility, web components. All these things are there that you want to dive into, and you can create desktop applications using Electron.js. Again, it will use JavaScript. You can use React Native, Flutter. Again, they use JavaScript behind the scenes. So you can create desktop apps, you can create mobile apps, you can create PWAs. So has anyone heard of PWA? If you want to be a front end focus, then it's a great way to go. Yeah.
PWA. Yeah, I worked on.
Sorry. Yeah. So it's a great technology, right? In fact, I was reading one case study of Flipkart. So they also created Flipkart Lite, a PWA, right? And it was very performant because they did not have time to create the whole application at that particular time, right? Android application, iOS application. So they just created a Facebook Lite application, and it will feel like it's installed on your mobile, but it is actually loading the web application behind the scenes. Okay, so those things are there. So again, you can use this tool as a roadmap, and if you click here, let's say if you click here, it will give you some of the free tools that you can use. Don't I would not advise you to go into the paid things, because everything is free, right? You can just go through that, and at any point that you want to go, right? Okay, so this will cover the full stack, will cover all these things that I told you about. GitHub Actions, CI/CD, some these are Route 53, EC2, VPC instances, these are AWS services, then little bit of Linux as well. So this is something that I forgot to mention, but this is also important. The Vim editors, how do you navigate all those things, right? Okay, so this is something that would be helpful for you for this particular course. And then if you want to dive into anything, then you can dive, you can click and dive, right? So is it clear? Was anyone using this tool before?
I had an idea about this, but I never used it. I will
Yeah.
look into this more often.
So this will give you a structured way, right, of where should move next. Okay. And if you want to do a skill map roadmap, you can do that as well. If you want to dive into React, if you want to dive into any of the languages, right? System design, anything. So you can go there and you can do that. And again, you will see, guys, that front end system design, you will not get a lot of tools, right? So that's why I wanted to cover one of the important things here. Lot of things to cover, guys. See, now people also ask me, and no one has asked here, that are we going to cover Next.js, right? Do you think, guys, we should cover Next.js, or we should focus on the fundamentals? There is no point of learning Next.js, right? If the interviews
Fundamentals
are
are
not,
not clear.
yeah, yeah.
If the fundamentals are not
If the
clear, then
fundamentals are not clear, and if the interviewers are also not asking about that, right? If in the interview rounds they will not ask you Next.js or Nest.js or anything, then does it make sense to learn that? No, because LinkedIn and the internet creates those hype, right? That we want to create all these things. We want to learn all these things. So always stay true to the fundamentals, guys, right? That is just I wanted to display, because I have seen a lot of my students stuck on, even I was stuck on these things, right? Constantly learning new things and forgetting the previous one that I knew, right? And not practicing it enough. So I hope you can some of you can resonate with that, right? Okay, so guys, any other questions? Anyone? Okay, no one. So I think Arjun KR has joined and Siddesh has joined. Guys, you want to give your interviews? Sorry, introductions. We already had for everyone. Arjun KR and Siddesh.
Yeah, you were able to hear?
Yeah.
Yeah. My name is Arjun. I'm having around 10 years of experience.
Okay. And
Yeah.
which technologies?
Front end is the Vue and back end is the .NET.
Okay, so like currently you're working and like where you are residing and like what are your hobbies?
Yeah,
You can talk about that.
I'm working at Bangalore.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a full stack developer.
So your main technologies are?
Vue.js and .NET.
Okay, okay. So .NET
Yeah.
is pretty old now.
Yeah.
So one thing I noticed, guys, right? So I've also worked on Vue.js. I'm starting to learn because of the new project. So the only thing I see is the Vue.js is somehow it works. It feels magical, right, as compared to React. So the learning curve is easier, and you can build good applications using Vue.js, right? But it has not got a lot of attention due to the React's marketing team or maybe the community or anything, right?
Yes.
But there is important thing that we need to think of it as. So both are, see, even though both have been built on JavaScript, what I have observed is the mental model is different. In Vue.js, you don't focus on immutability a lot, right?
Yeah.
But in React, you focus more on the immutability side. So that is one thing, right? So again, I'm still learning, but I have got to learn a lot of things in Vue.js. But again, the core thing I feel is just getting to know JavaScript, because then these things will become easier. And you cannot just bring one tool's knowledge to the other tools, guys. So that is also one thing that you have to remember. So again, a very important concept that no one tells us this is that you have to learn and unlearn, right? That is also a very important thing, because something that is happening in React might not happen in Vue. Something that is happening in Vue might not happen exactly in React. So that mental model needs to be built, right? Again, the common thing is JavaScript. Okay. So, any other questions, guys? I think we can end the session for today. Tomorrow, if you are very, very new to it, you can, if you want, if you have time, you can just go to any of the website, just go to Intro to HTML or anything, right? Maybe W3 Schools is better. Just go to this website, just have a glance, just read it. So then, when you come to the session tomorrow, it will become more easier for you to grasp. Okay. So I've shared the link in the chat here. You can just open that and work on that. Just have a glance, right? And you can also note down the questions if you want.
I'm sorry I joined late. Can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Yeah.
So I have total of around 6 to 7 years of experience, and I have worked in MNCs and the startups as well in data science domain, EVs, all those things. In my last stint, I was a tech lead in the startup, and I was a founding engineer. So I was leading their front end domain, specifically in React JS. And apart from that, I've also worked with leading EdTech companies like An Academy, Physics Wala. I have some courses launched on Coursera platform as well. And there are a couple of small EdTech companies that I worked with. So yeah, majorly my stint was at An Academy, and I was a leading front educator there, where we were having a full stack bootcamp. So yeah, that has been my journey so far.
Yeah.
Majorly, I worked on backend technologies, but my focus has always been on the front end side.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, thanks. Okay, thanks, guys. It was nice knowing you all. Let's continue the sessions from tomorrow, and we will take up the questions every class in the last 15-20 minutes. Okay, Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great day ahead, and let's meet tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye.